Twitter and Twitch users, I think it's very important to remember that you are a minority in Oldschool RuneScape and its community. You are a loud minority, okay? You might see Twitter or Twitch, even people on stream, saying, fuck sailing, we don't want sailing, voting no to sailing, 12 different alt accounts, vote no to sailing. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to bet less than 25% of the active voting player base. The entirety of Twitter and Twitch combined. You guys are loud, annoying, and morons. You don't have a clue, and I'm willing to bet money on that. I bet you are less than 25% of the active voting player base. So when you see people saying no all the time, don't be surprised when that isn't the end result, because every single time we have a big controversial poll like this, that's exactly how it goes. Sailing has just passed the Summer Summit 2023 Giga poll, and by the looks of things, pretty much everything passed on the poll. However, Jagex is copping a bit of hate online from people because they're accusing them of rigging the polls, rigging the poll system to allow a new skill to come to the game. They're ruining Oldschool RuneScape, and I want to talk about all of that, the poll system, what I think, what I voted, and more going into this video. Excuse me. A lot of what I say here is going to be on edge. You might not like what I say, you might like what I say. Feel free to comment down below. If you think I'm right, feel free to say I'm right and why. If you think I'm an idiot, say I'm an idiot and tell me why. All feedback is welcome. I love it. I'm happy to read all your comments. I always go through and I read them all, so please do that. Like and subscribe while you're down there anyway, because you're coming back. Let's be honest. Normally I'll be doing this live, but I'm not live for another 24 hours, which will then be a 24-hour stream. You're more than welcome to come by then and discuss it with me during the chat. I can talk about it all day. Everyone's welcome. I love it. Come by. Why not? But let's get into the poll. Questions 1 through 5. I'm going to skip over this one pretty much because Valimar, I voted yes for all of Valimar, sorry. Voted yes to all of it. It's all great content. I don't think there's almost no negative feedback about it that I've seen online at the moment. I think we're all looking forward to it. We have been for years. So that's good. First part of the poll is easy. Sailing is the most controversial one I want to do last because that will bring us over to people's hot takes. Path of Gloffrey and mid-level bosses. I don't see why you shouldn't have that. Again, I voted yes for that because I think that's the more mid-game content you have, the more mid-game bosses. And then this new Trident as well, between Ivan's Blast and Trident of the Seas, is big. Yes, it's big for Iron Man, and I get it. Oh, fuck Iron Man. Yeah, I get that. Okay, shut up. Let's cut the shit for a second. The more mid-game content you have, the more spread out the content is, the more people can enjoy the game, the more people are playing the game, the longer people are playing the game, the longer you play the game because the game stays alive longer. It's a snowball effect. It's minimal, but it's there. Let's be real. There's no downside to this content. This quest was already on the files, right? It's in the archives from the 2007 save file that we got in 2013. So most of the dev work is done. They just need to make the Slayer creatures not cancerous and we're good to go. Free content. Why not? Now, the Cox stuff. This is where it's going to get a little bit spicy, guys. So strap in, strap on. Feel free to give me your opinions on what you think. I voted no to one thing on this list, and that was the scouting. So we're going to go through the scaling first, which is very simple. In my opinion, scaling... they should develop a system to allow players to set their own scales at Chamber of Xeric, of course. What I think they should do is a gold sync. Very simple. Depending on how many people you want to scale, depending on how much gold you have to pay to scale the raid, because you want to be, like, you can't beat scaling, because people have access to clans, CCs, Discord servers, their own alts, so you're not going to beat scaling. People will just scale, right? But if you can make it more convenient to just throw 25 plus, a 25 plus scale on the raid, for, say, 10 mil. Good gold sync. I know 10 mil sounds like a lot, but when you've got a, what, 60% chance or whatever at a purple, like, 10 mil's not a lot because you're really only losing if you get like a Din's Ball Walk or an Arcane, but if you get even a deck scroll, you're winning, right? So, and the deck scroll is pretty common, so... like, again, that 10 mil is just a random number. Could be more, could be less. That's just my idea. I think a gold sync is a good opportunity to introduce there. The more gold we sink out of the game, the better. But I want to talk about scouting, because this is where I'm going to go on a bit of a ramble. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios, and you tell me what you think. I think scouting... developing a system to improve scouting for favorable layouts in Chambers of Xeric, I think that is a very, very delicate situation that Jagex is dealing with here. Now, there's multiple levels of Chambers of Xeric raiders in the game. You know, you've got the people that are learning. You got the casual raiders, you got the mid-level raiders, the CMers, the soloers, the solo no preppers, the trio no preppers, the people that do it in big teams, the scalers. You've got people that will do Cox many different ways. And when they announced this on their Twitch stream for the Summer Summit, there was a lot of just, like, people that I know do a lot of end game content, a lot of casual end game content. Like they're not high level gamers, but they can do it, right? Like what's his name? I think P Sax I saw was talking. He was asking in the chat why Jagex is making us, or trying to develop a system to make us pay for scaling and scouts. Why not just give it to us? It's people with room temperature IQ like that who unfortunately are voting on the systems like this. They're just idiots, right? You can fuck the game really quickly with a scouting system. If they introduce a scouting system, put it this way, they introduce a scouting system where you can pick whatever layout you want, which they won't do. Jagex won't do that because that's suicide. But if they did that, which some people want, go in, whatever layout you want and go, I would sell my T-Bow tomorrow. I'd sell it yesterday. Because that's dropping in price. If you can pick your own layout, I don't think you understand, a lot of people don't understand how quickly you can clear a Chambers of Xeric raid. If you get a VTV, you get a 3-man VTV, you're clearing that in under 20 minutes, you're gaming. Easily. A confident team, and a lot of people could do it, especially with practice, under 20, 25 minutes, you're clearing a raid constantly, you're printing purples like there's no tomorrow, son. Like, VTVs or just high point, low time raids, it's so easy to do. So, you need to be very careful when balancing this, right? And I'm sure Jagex will be, I don't doubt them, excuse me. But I just want to make it clear that I think this is where a lot of people don't fully understand Chambers of Xeric, how it works. Someone was asking to add invocations to Tob and Cox. Like, do you even know what the fuck invocations do? Or like the invocation system, how it works? Like, people like that are voting here. So, and they're probably voting yes. So, there's two options that I see here. Well, there's a middle ground, which is where Jagex hopefully comes in. But you got two extreme lengths, right? The one we've already discussed, you can pick whatever layout you want. Whether you pay for it or what, it doesn't matter. But you can just literally pick whatever layout you want. That's good for casual raiders because you can then avoid the ones most people don't want to do, Vasa, Vespula, even Vanguards, because it's a lot of effort. Some people don't want to learn it. Some people don't have the gear for those rooms. They can really fuck a raid if you're not careful, right? Well, not Vanguards, but Vasa and Vespula can really turn a raid inside out for a lot of learners and a lot of inexperienced players. So they might choose to avoid those rooms. That's fine. But the majority, and I mean that, the majority of Cox players who are even high-end, but not high-level clans, will absolutely smash this raid. They'll stop doing TOA next. Do you know why they do TOA next? Not because it's fun, because it makes money. Cox is more fun than both of those, and will be making more money than them if you could shit out raids every 20, 25 minutes without having to scout. So I think that's a problem. Then you've got the other end of the spectrum, right? Where this new scouting system becomes more effort than it's worth. Like, it's just, you're better off buying from a Discord server. Because that's the middle ground, right? People buy scouts from Discord bots. Because people have bots that just... Did my Discord just go off? Please don't. So people have bots that go off and scout raids, right? And then they sell the layout in a Discord server. You have to make the system more convenient than that without breaking the system already, like without breaking the raid and the economy in the raid. So that's the sweet spot Jagex needs to find. Okay, you've got pick your own layout, Discord in the middle, and then this end, which in my opinion is even worse. This is where an example is an untradeable token, which I think they presented in the Summer Summit. Like an untradeable token, let's say you get one, you have a 50% chance of finishing the raid to get a token, and then it's like 3 tokens, you pick whatever layout you want. So on average, every 6 raids you can then pick your own layout. That's extremely tedious, I know, that's why it's the worst at the other end of the spectrum. But anything even remotely close to that is not worth making for the game because it's easy to just go to the Discord server and buy a layout, okay? I hope I'm making sense here, I know it's a lot of hand movement. So Jagex needs to find something that doesn't fuck the economy and just let you print out raids and layouts, but is more convenient than bots selling services. Someone on Twitter a while ago said that Grandmasters, people with Zuck helmets, should be able to choose their own layout at Cox. And this guy had a Zuck helmet. That's just further evidence that even though you might have a Zuck helmet in the game, you're still a fucking idiot. So I don't think anyone should be able to pick whatever layout they want. They should be able to reduce certain rooms, but I think it's important to remember that, especially for early game players that might... I think early game players want this more, but end game players will benefit from this more. So the end game high level Coxers will make so much money and bust the economy from this. But early game... But when I say early game players, I mean early game Coxers, like you know, inexperienced Cox players, even just mid-level Cox players, right? This is just in terms of Chambers of Xeric. Unless you're doing Chambers of Xeric at the highest level, I think a lot of those people want to be able to do their own layout because they're spending maybe only like 2 or 3 minutes scouting because they don't want to do VASA, Vestibular, maybe not Tecton. There comes a point when you must realize that just because you don't know how to do, if you don't have the gear for those bosses, then that's not the raid's fault, that's your fault. If you don't want to learn those bosses, that's not the raid's fault, that's your fault. If you don't want to do them, that's not necessarily the raid's fault either, that's probably your fault. You should do them. Okay, if not, then that's fine, go and scout for another raid. 2 or 3 minutes of scouting is not that bad. It really isn't. If you don't want to do VASA, oh, I don't know how to do VASA, then shit, better start learning. Like, that's not the raid's fault that you don't want to put effort into learning a room that takes less than a minute to do. Same for Vestibular, same for Tecton. Fucking learn it. I think that's what's important here. I don't know the numbers, but I would safely assume that a lot of people that don't want to scout, or that don't want to do the scouting thing, that want a new scouting systems because they don't want to do VASA because they can't be fucked. VASA is a quick room. It's a shit boss, let's be honest. But it's a quick room and it's easy. Vestibular can fuck the raid, but it's also very simple to do. Very easy. You just don't want to learn it. Cox is a free raid. Doesn't take long to learn. To be honest, it really doesn't. And it's very simple. And I'll make a guide if I have to. I think scouting is very delicate and Jagex has to be careful. I could be wrong. If you disagree, let me know down below. But I really don't see a way to make it work. I really don't. But the J-mods are smarter than me and they've done better than me, obviously. And they've proved me wrong many times. But I really don't see how they can make scouting favorable layouts in Chambers of Xeric practical, where it's not going to bust the economy, but also be more convenient than just buying a layout from Discord. Like, I think obviously you can just eliminate 1 or 2 rooms for when scouting. That can make it a little bit faster, but like, is it like, what's the point? At that point, it's like, okay, so you can't pull. Let's say you can choose 2 rooms, right? You do the Elite Diary, two rooms can come off of your scouting process. So now you won't get VASA and Vestibular if you don't want them, right? Which VTVs you want VASA and Vestibular. But let's just say for the casual coxer, I don't want VASA and Vestibular, that's fine. That makes raiding easy for you, okay? As for people that are looking for, you know, speed runs or you know, pushing fast rooms out, they might take off Vanguards and take off Ice Demon, right? All that's doing is giving the bots more freedom to use. You're still going to use the Discord, aren't you? Because the bots will just print out VTVs faster. The bots just print out favorable raids faster. So you're really just fueling bots again. I don't know. If there's a better system, please put it down below. I want to hear about it. I really do. But I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm very, very confused on that one. I'm looking forward to it, though. I really am. Looking forward to seeing what they have to offer. Would you like to share information on the Summer Summit? No, I don't care about that. Let's talk about sailing. That's why we're here. Sailing passed 71.9%. On the website, I think it's close to 70.6% because the website also counts skip votes as its own percentage. So let's keep that in mind going forward. Should sailing be added to Oldschool Runescape's first new skill? I voted yes. I didn't think it was going to pass, but I voted yes. I think Jagex has done enough to convince me that it should be in the game. Now, one hot take straight away is that people are saying that it technically didn't pass because Jagex shifted the poll minimum, well, the pass minimum, sorry, on the poll from 75% to 70%, which means that it technically didn't pass the original poll system, which isn't active anymore, hasn't been active for like a year now, over a year maybe. And on top of that, people are speculating that they did that purely for the skill. So if that's going to be your idiotic mindset going forward for those with that opinion, anything that passes the poll but under 75% in the future, you should also treat as if it didn't pass and is, you know, speculation by Jagex rigging the poll system. What have we got here? We've got removing magic immunity from Callisto's magic defense, which is 70.7%. Not good. What else have we got here? We've got rebalancing XP and GP per hour at Rogue's Chest. That's 74.9%. That's not a pass either. Jagex is rigging the polls there. Bunch of Bounty Hunter. Can you fuck off? A bunch of Bounty Hunter polls here. 72% for Dark Bow. 71% for Barrel Chest Anchor. I know they're all untradeable rewards, but these technically all didn't pass as well. So we can complain about Tie Farm being a solo instance. 74.6%. That's some of the best content in the game. Tie Farm being a solo instance, solo content is perfect. Now there's less trolls, people won't crash you, it doesn't wipe your points. This is a fat dub. But does that technically pass or fail? I don't know, maybe this is a bit of a weak point, you know? Should we add self-casting teleports? Isn't that would teleport players to safety? You know the Ironman safety crystal that people are using? 73.2%. Should that technically not have passed then? Did Jagex shift the polls so that would pass? Grow up. Okay, let's cut the shit. Okay, the polls are not being rigged to get sailing or anything else in the game, because that, like, if you could come up with a logical reason for them rigging the poll, that would make sense. Okay, so someone said on Twitter, they were like, I think it was like Odablock Clips. Okay, whoever's running that fucking account has brain damage. Odablock, you need to fire that motherfucker, because they're just like, what did they say to me? They said it's a smart business decision to rig it, to rig the poll system. Why do you think they rigged Group Ironman so that content creators would play it and get more publicity for the game? And that they rigged the farmers' RNG so they get 5 enhanced weapon seeds and 500 KC. It's like, people get spoon shit all the time. I've got one of the rarest pet drops in the game. You don't get, like, they're not rigging RNG. Look at this here. Beyond fucking rigged, not only was the passing threshold lowered, but the question was snuck in between easy yes votes. Extremely manipulative of Jagex. So, this guy's logic is that because the question is here, between where other people are voting yes, that is manipulative of Jagex. Sorry, I'm pronouncing that like an idiot. Manipulative of Jagex. My apologies. Because they put it in question 6. The question that is on average, 20% less than every other question was placed there strategically so people would just go through and vote yes. Evidently that's wrong immediately, because, well, there's 20% less people voted yes on the question as opposed to everything else, right? So, this sort of idiotic shit that we're seeing here, you know? It's just like you get wrecked retard. Exactly. Like, people like this are just crying for no fucking reason. It's a joke. What else have we got here? We've got, that's his channel there. There you go. Nikezi. It's official, Old School RuneScape is not old school anymore. It hasn't been old school for years, cunt. Okay? The game is 10 years old. The game is older than RuneScape was when the files were recovered, right? It hasn't been old school for years. We've got raids. We've got bosses with mechanics that we never even realized were possible. We've got content that is shared with RuneScape 3 into the game. Like, this isn't old school at all. It's called old school, but, like, when was the last time this game felt old school? Let's be real. And that's not a bad thing. If you want the game to never be updated and you want the game to never progress, then you're going to have a dead game. Look at WoW Classic. Oh, let's re-release the same content 5 times in a row. Like, come on. It's people like this that just, again, like, who is he? Like, again, no one knows who he is, of course. Gonna be fun to see the dev team ruin the game. The dev team's never made a bad choice. The Old School RuneScape dev team has done nothing but fat does for the game. I can't personally think of a single update that has been made to Old School RuneScape that I've gone, that needs to be reversed. I've never had an update. There's been some updates I've not enjoyed, some updates I've not cared about, some updates I've thought were shit. Okay? There's been a lot of updates that are great, even if they've had nothing to do with me. But there's never been a single update where I've gone, that's fucked the game. We need to change it. Not a single update. So I don't think the dev team is going to ruin the game anytime soon. Just to have worked at Jagex in their CV instead of actually caring about the game. So this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, right? If a new skill is going to ruin the game, what's this say? If a new skill is what makes the game not old school anymore, you haven't been following. That's exactly right? And if a new skill is going to ruin the game for you, then shit. I am of the opinion that a new skill is just as likely to ruin the game as a new raid. Like, another raid or a new island to the game could ruin it just as much as a new skill. So I think this guy's just a moron. Again, just another idiot. And then you got the Jagex, the Old School RuneScape page, posting the results here, and the comments are amazing. Rigged. Look at this. Rigged. Yeah, Toucan just hitting him with it. Nothing makes me happier than going to use my meme on someone and someone else already. Okay, see, yeah, okay, whatever. Me and the boys about to have so much fun on our boats. This is good. All of you people hating just don't like change. This isn't 2007 anymore. A lot of people having the same opinion, which is good here. The game needs something to get new players, or people will just quit and they will lose money. I mean, to be honest, I sound like a broken record, but Iron Man will fix a lot of people's problems if you haven't played it, or there's content you're not doing because you choose not to even try it, then you have no right to complain at the end of the day. The worst skill went through. Well, ashamed of y'all. I don't think, well, yeah, I think sailing was the worst skill of the 3, but at the same time, I think they've done a good job presenting it, so you can't really say that sailing is worse than shamanism or taming, when we don't even know what shamanism or taming is beyond whatever they initially showed us in comparison to sailing, where we have a lot more content of sailing. So if they could pitch shamanism and sailing, the same that they have as, sorry, shamanism and taming is the same they have with sailing, with the videos and the concepts that they've gone forward with, then we could probably likely say that sailing was the worst skill, but we can't really make that decision anymore. It's not possible. It's just, that's it. Why was sailing versus shamanism not polled? Because that's not how the poll system worked. That was clear before they polled it. Why did the biggest change to the game not have its own separate poll? The poll was very clear that that's not how it was going to work. It was a 3-tier poll, right? And it was whichever one won was going to get worked on, refined. And sailing won. I voted for shamanism. I want to make that clear. But just because I wanted shamanism doesn't mean I have to find every angle possible to make an excuse for shamanism and just like remove my brain completely from the situation. At the end of the day, it is what it is. We've got sailing, and I think they're doing a good job of it. They've changed my mind on whether I think it should come to the game. I still would have preferred a different skill, but at the end of the day, I'm not bothered. But why would they re-put, like, how many polls do we need to process before people realize that sailing's coming to the game? At the end of the day, I think it's important to remember, I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but Twitter and Twitch users, actually I'm going to put this at the start of the video, fuck it, you're going to hear it again twice, but Twitter and Twitch users, I think it's very important to remember that you are a minority in Oldschool RuneScape and its community. You are a loud minority, okay? You might see Twitter or Twitch, even people on stream, saying fuck sailing, we don't want sailing, voting no to sailing, 12 different old accounts vote no to sailing, but at the end of the day, I'm willing to bet less than 25% of the active voting player base. The entirety of Twitter and Twitch combined. You guys are loud, annoying, and morons. You don't have a clue, and I'm willing to bet money on that. I bet you are less than 25% of the active voting player base. So when you see people saying no all the time, don't be surprised when that isn't the end result, because every single time we have a big controversial poll like this, that's exactly how it goes. Who else have we got here? Unmute Bobby Whit. Okay, yep. I've been anti-sailing, but even more important is how Jagex has been abusing the polling system. Here we go. This is fancy here. Zuck helmet. A nobody. Polls are flawed, misleading, or simply incorrect, and Jagex refuses to address it. Can we get an example? That'd be good. If we can get an example of how polls are flawed, misleading, or simply incorrect, that'd be good. Game is changing, and it's not for me. Catering towards the least dedicated majority again. Well, it's not the least dedicated majority, because we have a 71.9% pass. Catering towards the least dedicated majority. Oh, because he's got a Zuck helmet, he's more dedicated than people who play the fucking game and want what's best for the game. My bad, sorry. Of course. Has he got an ironman? Does he PvP? Who knows? Probably not. Anyways, he's probably got to go to work tomorrow. Can we see a breakdown for the total levels of accounts that voted yes and no for sailing? That'd be interesting. I'd like to see that. That would be good. There will be a blog next week going into a bit more details. Mod like, come and clutch. Love it. Hell yeah, let's go. What happened to the game I love? It's still here, idiot. It didn't pass. You just changed the... Here we go. Here we go, boys. It didn't pass. You just changed the threshold from 75 to 70% because you don't have respect for the poll results. No, we do have respect for the poll results. So, what, like... They went through... Is it in here? I don't know if they've got it here. We'll have to find the post where they've made the changes. No, it probably wouldn't be on here. Where they made it very clear why they're changing the system to 70%. And I think it's completely justified. And people only have a problem with it when it's something controversial, not when it's anything else. Only if it's something big and it's, oh, I didn't want it. At the end of the day, I think 70% is still a majority. That's how the poll's been all year. There's been a lot of close polls that are under 75% that have still passed and been good content. I just showed a bunch of screenshots, and that was only me going through like the past 3 or 4 polls. 100%, this is totally fine. I speak for everyone, including the unborn who shouldn't suffer. No, you don't speak for everyone. You speak for the retarded. They snuck it in there. They tricked us. Can you not read what you were voting on? Well, that's also a very good point. Like, what are you doing? If you think they snuck it in there, then maybe you should read the fucking poll. So excited to start my own boat and fulfill my childhood dream of becoming Captain Jack Sparrow. Yep, awesome. Disappointing, but not surprising that sailing passed. See, I didn't think it was going to pass. I thought it was going to fall short. So I am surprised. We'll still try to enjoy it when it releases, and I hope I'm proven wrong on my doubts of it fitting in osrs. There you go. I mean, that's totally fine. You're more than entitled to be doubting it, and the fact that he's willing to try it and hopes that he's proven wrong is good. That's a positive sign of someone who doesn't want sailing. I think that's totally fine. Still don't get why this was question 6 on the summit poll versus its own due to its importance of the vote. However, I personally do think that look, I was like, why is sailing on the poll? I thought that was a bit weird, but I don't think it's a problem. At the end of the day, like, it's not really a big deal if it was its own, if it was in the poll or if it was in a separate voting system, right? I think the angle Jagex may have been looking for was less about trying to sneak it in, but was probably more, this is going to be a popular poll. A lot of people, because not everyone votes, right? Can we pull up? We got 161,000 votes here. What's the one before that? Forestry, you only have 60,000 votes. What about, where's the last skilling one? Have we got a skill one on here? Skill pitches poll. 178,000. Okay, no, that's quite a lot there. What else have we got? Another skill, new skill. 191. Shit. Okay, so a lot of people maybe they just didn't want a one question poll. I was thinking maybe it was something like they just wanted to be related to a popular poll. That way a lot of people read the question. People just didn't brush it off and ignore it. Like Bounty Hunter, 38k. No one cares about Bounty Hunter. It's shit content. Like quality of life, 125k. So maybe, I don't know. I did think it was a bit strange. It was just on the poll in general because it wasn't on the Summer Summit as far as I remember, from what I watched at least. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's not slimy in my opinion. It's a bit of a weird placement, but I don't really think it matters. Like, we're introducing sailing and open world skill. They've got it in the description at the top here. So, you know, it wasn't directly related to the Summer Summit at the same time. So who knows? I don't think it was a bad. I don't think it was slimy. I don't think it was. It was just a bit out of pocket, to be honest. Not even 75%. Lucky for you, the passing threshold magically changed less than a year ago. See how the other polled questions go over 90%? It's because the players actually want it. Well, I think over 70% players actually want it too, because 70% is more than, well, 69% in every number under that. Again, I don't think that you should be comparing it to 90% poll passes, because what about things that are 80%? What about things that are, you know, 72%, 71, 70.8, 70.2? Like, should we just discount that as well? Should we complain about all that? Again, like this is very straightforward. Rigged? Yeah. Rigging is crazy. It's not rigged. Like, look, Jagex has no benefit to rigging the poll system. It doesn't, like, if they're gonna rig it to put sailing in the game, but people don't want sailing, then why would they want it in the game if you guys don't want it? If the majority of the player base don't want sailing, why would they rig it to put it in there just to fuck the game? That's counterproductive in every fucking measure, right? The truth is that everyone here on Twitter that's complaining only goes on Twitter, only goes on Twitch and says, oh, anti-sailing, yeah, fuck sailing. And guess what? That is literally, you're lucky if that's even close to 28.1% of the player base, active voting player base. I bet you're less than that. I guarantee you that not even 20% of you are making up the player base here. 100%. Because a lot of people on Twitter will still vote yes as well. But I guarantee you, it's just a loud minority that just won't shut the fuck up. And that is the point at the end of the day. Alright? This guy's an idiot anyway. The amount of shit I see this kind of talk is a moron. What else we got here? I'm curious how much of an early zombie pirate theme... okay, no, that's not something controversial, but good comment. I actually can't believe this. 0.1% cannot lie. Some sense on integrity is needed. This is actually being coerced into the game because they've put so much time into it already. I'm actually disappointed, not how I envisioned a new skill coming into the game. What do you mean it's not how you envisioned a new skill coming into the game? They have, let me pull up a fucking website for a second. It's called oldschoolrunescape.com, alright? Check it out. You go here and you go, I want to say polls is probably where you go. My bad, it's under updates, not polls. You go to 23rd of January 2023, adding a new skill, community consultation. Scroll down, and this is your vision here, okay? This is how you should have envisioned it, because that's how it was pitched 8 months ago. That's that simple. People that are like complaining about how this process is going, flowchart. It's that simple, alright? We're locking in the new skill because it passed. Time for a beta. That's it. It's time for a beta. Or we're locking in the new skill and they're going to fine-tune it at least. And then we go for the beta. So that's it. I don't know how this is that hard to understand for a lot of you people. It really isn't that hard. Now, I get, because it's close to 70%, it's you know, there's controversy at all. They're not rigging the polls. It's that simple. Jagex has no benefit to rigging the poll. There's no gain from them. There really isn't. What I think should happen, since you want to talk about rigging the polls and people want to complain, okay, then you go ahead and you laugh and go, oh, look at what EVscape's doing when he's got 12 accounts all voting no. Okay, that is more bullshit that you're accepting than the idea that Jagex is rigging a poll system. I think Jagex should make it mandatory that you use the Jagex launcher, and then you can vote once per Jagex launcher account. That way, when you've got your 10 accounts, your alts all on one account, you're still only voting once. Because people voting 10, 15 times to yes and no questions is worse than the idea of Jagex rigging the poll system. And that's the truth. So, at the end of the day, if you think the poll system is rigged, vote on one account. Get everyone to vote on one account, then we can discuss whether the poll system's rigged. Because you're just fighting fire with fire at that point. Anyways, that's the system there. That's the poll. That's what I think. And if you disagree, let me know. If you do agree, let me know too. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in 24 hours time for a 24-hour stream. Have a good night. Thank you. This is the easiest room in the raid. It's quite simple. You got a big boy. Look at him. God damn. Fuck me. Look at that boy. It's huge. You got a big boy.